All right. It is done. It is done. Good morning, everybody. This is Tremaine here from Mind Over Money. Um, Super excited to have this conversation. Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? Everybody tune in. So we are on our live stream kick, making sure that we are providing value and adding. Um, Good morning. Adding some information that you can use to your routine. I am Batman. Well, hello, Batman. Um, I'm going to decline that invitation to join me on my live. But today we are going to be talking about, that's because the mic wasn't on. Can you hear me now? Um, Let me know if you can hear me now. Okay. But yeah, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Tremaine Wills from Mind Over Money. Um, I'm a financial planner and investment advisor. And thanks for letting me know. Um, Today we're going to be talking about how every dollar needs a job, right? I think for a lot of us, we kind of go through the motions with our finances. And so we kind of see the money coming in. And since it's sitting in the account, we just spend what's there, right? And so what I want to do is help us think about our dollars as resources, as something to be used to accelerate the plans that we have and to make the way we live more enjoyable, right? So I'll dive into more detail about this as we talk. Good morning. I'll dive into more detail about this throughout the live, but this is what the conversation is going to be about. So if you're watching this and you're somebody who's like, I'm terrible at budgeting, I want to encourage you to take a moment and think about like how you want your life to be, because we're going to base that with how we structure this budget. Get me out of TJ Maxx now. Okay, walk out. Put the stuff back though. Don't just walk out. Hey, from Delaware. I'm gonna get to that in a second, asking where y'all are from. But if you know anybody in your circle that has been talking about 2023 being their year of leveling up, or just wanting to do better with their finances, invite them to join us on this live. Or maybe you want to wait and see what the conversation's about. You can always invite them to watch it later. But we're going to be talking about why every dollar needs a job and how you can make sure that you're putting those dollars to work. So we got some folks tuning in from Washington, D.C. Somebody said they got a shoe addiction. Listen, we're not going to claim that. You might like shoes, but we're not going to say it's an addiction. But let me know in the comments where you are tuning in from, and share. So one thing I like to do is I like to encourage entrepreneurs and small business owners to introduce themselves in the comments. I believe that we are supposed to take up space when we provide a service or a product that benefits others. People don't know who you are and what you do unless you tell them. And sometimes we have to remind them. So if you are a small business owner and you haven't introduced yourself already, please do that in the comments. Can we message you for a consultation/advice? If you would like to schedule an appointment with me, you can comment invest23. That's one word. That'll send you a message so that you can get on my calendar. So thanks for asking that. Oh, Columbia, South Carolina. Hey, 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 hey. But yeah, so I forgot what I was talking about. But let's dive into today's conversation. I was saying introduce yourself, right? If you haven't done that already, introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are in the comments, who you serve, why you serve them, and get connected, right? Sometimes we miss out on opportunities because we don't speak up. And I know for me, one of the things I did was I shrunk in lots of spaces. Because I was so used to people telling me that I was too much, right? And so what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to shrink in this space. So comment, tell us who you are, and get comfortable doing that. all over the place, right? You stop when people tell you to stop. But until then, take up space, tell people who you are, and how you serve. Okay. So we got hairstylist, makeup artist, small business owner tuning in from Portland. Oh, Poland. Oh, okay. Right. Toledo, Ohio. So we got folks all across the world tuning in, right? So let's get into this. Every dollar needs a job. One of the biggest reasons I think that we struggle with our finances is because we are incredibly casual with how we manage our money. If you are somebody who is bringing in enough money to cover all of your expenses, but you find that you are stagnant with the growth of how you're accumulating wealth, it's probably because you aren't putting your dollars to work. And so, a framework I want to give you for how to ensure that every dollar is working, it goes like this. There's 3 parts, and we'll dive into each of them. Let me look back at my notes, right? We'll dive into each of them. But there's 3 things that your budget should do. It should clean up the mistakes of your past, right? It should make the present enjoyable, and it should secure your future. Okay, so those 3 things. The first part is it cleans up the mistakes of your past. The second part is it makes your present enjoyable. And then the third part is to secure your future. Okay, so we're going to dive into this first part and why your dollars have a job with cleaning up the past. So for many of us, if you went to school, you probably have or had student loans. And so you borrowed money in order to get this education, right? And maybe it wasn't just student loans that you got, right? Maybe you ran up some credit cards. Maybe you took out personal loans. Maybe, you have a debt, right? Cleaning up our past, that first bucket of what our money does in our budget is to wipe out that debt. What we want to do is assign dollars that their job is to pay off our debt. A lot of times I hear people say, like, this so much debt, I'm gonna die with this, right? And that's not what I want for you. I'm believing that we are gonna not only make enough money to pay off our debts, but we're gonna make enough money to accelerate the debt payoff so that it can get paid off faster and we save money on the interest. Okay. And so in order to make that happen, you have to be intentional with making sure that part of your budget is cleaning up the mistakes of our past or cleaning up the debts of our past, right? So we want to pay back what we owe and ensure that there is a line item in our budget that takes into consideration not only paying the minimums that are due on the debts, but accelerating that debt payoff so that we're paying more than is required to get that debt clear, right? Now, the strategy and structure for how you get that done is going to depend on each person. And so if you don't have a budget in place, you don't have a debt payoff plan, I encourage you to join my 14-day free membership or try it out for 14 days for free. And I'll tell you how to do that in a second. But it'll give you a debt payoff plan and help you so that you can accelerate this, accelerate paying off that debt, right? So the first piece in our budget, it should clean up the mistakes of our past, help us pay off debts, okay? Now, part 2, and this is the part I think a lot of us, we take for granted, is that our finances in the present are supposed to help us have an enjoyable present. I think sometimes when we're on this journey, we can be overly consumed with debt payoff and saving for retirement that we make our present miserable. And I believe that the purpose of our money is to help us improve our quality of life and to help us create memories, experiences, and to make the journey enjoyable. So this is not to say that we shouldn't be paying off debt. It's not to say that we shouldn't be investing for retirement. We should. But I don't believe that we should sacrifice so much so that you're living on rice and beans and you don't take a vacation for 7 years, right? I don't believe in that school of thought, because you could do all of this and be so wrapped up in not enjoying your life that you create additional stress. You become resentful of the process. And then you get all of this stuff paid off and it's like, well, what did I do that for? Right? So I believe that part of our budget in the present is to make it more enjoyable. And we do this by a couple of ways, right? We ensure that we allocate some of those dollars to the living expenses that we need, right? To make sure that we have adequate housing, that we have food, right? That we feel safe and secure, covering like that first level of our hierarchy of needs, right? Our budget should do that for us. But in addition to that, some of the dollars that we have should be allocated to return on investment that's not measured by dollars, right? So some of the money I spend should improve my mental health. Some of that money should improve my physical health, right? Things that make my quality of life better. And so when you think about every dollar having a job, that's not to say that it's all connected to paying off debt or investing for retirement. Some of those dollars can be aligned with making sure that I'm becoming the best version of myself in this moment, right? So, using some of that budget to do self-care and to make sure that you're in a good mental space. Those are healthy ways to spend your money. So, hey, I want to encourage you that if you are looking for expenses to cut out, do not just hop to canceling out the things that make you a better version of yourself, right? Because sometimes we'll look at the budget and we'll cut out all the things we like. And now you might have pulled the budget into alignment, but you hate it. And how long before you step back out of that budget because it's not something that's sustainable because you are miserable, right? So creating that budget when you are putting things together so that you're making your present more enjoyable, there has to be some give and take here. Like, yes, that might slow down how fast I can pay off my debt, or that might slow down or extend how long it's going to take me to get to retirement. But if the trade-off is maybe I don't retire 6 months earlier, but I get to enjoy the life that I'm living and I don't hate it, then I would say that's a fair trade-off, right? But everybody's different. So you have to weigh the pros and the cons of how you allocate those resources. So I hope that makes sense. And then the final piece of your budget should secure your future. And so what this can look like is saving for retirement. It could look like putting assets aside so that you can purchase properties, right? It could look like saving money so that you can travel sometime in the future, right? Whatever the future goals are. But all of that needs to be delineated in the budget that you create. Because if I'm taking a trip and the trip is going to cost, $20,000 because I ain't going by myself, right? That's probably not something that most people can just drop at the drop of a dime, right? And so you have to save and plan for that. But if I build it into my daily strategy, then it's more likely that I'm going to be able to reach that goal. Okay. So hopefully this made sense. There's 3 pieces that your budget needs to address. It is cleaning up your past. This is paying off debts that you have, right? It is making the present enjoyable. So ensuring that you're covering those living expenses, you are doing the things required to improve your mental, physical health, help you create memories, right? And then the last part is securing your future. How are you ensuring that one day you do get to reach those goals that you've set and you won't have to continue trading time for money, right? So if all of this made sense to you, give me some likes, give me some shares, tell your folks to tune into this, right? And if you're looking for a place to create a budget so you can really see what's happening with those transactions and you want to follow a framework like this, comment Learn 23. That's one word, Learn 23. It'll shoot you a message so you can get access 14 days for free to my membership, where I use a financial planning resource to guide you through creating a budget, to help you set up the goals that you have. And then all of that ties together into the bigger picture of the financial plan that you're going to create. So hopefully this was useful to you. If you are somebody who has not been a budgeter before, I encourage you to have a roadmap for how you're going to use your money. It is something that can be your best friend when you leverage it and you put it into alignment with how you want to live your life. I think for many of us, we see budget as like a nasty word, as something that says you're broke, right? But when I used to work for NASA, one of the things I learned was that there are budgets that got a lot of zeros, right? And it's not that people who have more money or organizations that have more money don't follow a budget. They just happen to have more money inside of it. So everybody who is successful has some sort of structure that they tell the resources what to do. We just have to identify that the amount of money in the budget might be small right now, but you have to get comfortable with directing the resources and giving every dollar a job so that when you come into more resources, it's not unfamiliar to you, right? You don't build the habit of becoming a great or becoming great with money management when the money gets in your hands. You develop that skill before, right? And then when it comes, okay, now I don't squander it. So it's important that we are more intentional with what we have right now and putting it to work. So I encourage you, if you haven't done a review of your finances lately, this is the perfect time to sit down and see, okay, where's my money going? Is every dollar working? Does every dollar have a job? And if it doesn't, why not, right? And that's not to say that every dollar's job is to make more money. Some dollars' jobs are to make you a better version of yourself, and that's okay. You just have to know what is the productiveness of this job. Just like when you're in a workplace, right? Different people have different roles. Every line item on your budget has a different role. And not every role in that budget is for making more money. Some of that stuff is to make sure you are a level-headed person who can function, right? So I hope this was useful. Like, share, all that great stuff. I will see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. And y'all know how this go at the end. If you are looking for a resource to help you get started, comment Learn 23. I'll make sure that you get access to our 14-day free membership inside the 4 Comma Collective, where we are working to help individuals grow their assets to $1 million or more, because what we know is you cannot save your way to wealth. And what I don't want us to do is be in our old age and have to find a job because we didn't take this thing seriously in our youth. So have a great day. I will see you guys tomorrow.